In a system where face-to-face is imperative, the coronavirus has caused foster care agencies to get creative. Social worker Katie Gelazzo said the pandemic turned her job upside down.
We are used to face visits with our children, going to court in person. Basically, everything we do requires face to face visitation and face to face in daily life just to ensure safety of our children and families and that all of our kids and families' needs are being met. With COVID, everything has essentially gone virtual, though in July they implemented some face to face, and then we are now permitted to go back into our families' homes.
Though foster care agencies are now permitting more face-to-face interaction, they're still taking extra precautions to ensure safety.
The agencies use PPE so that they are keeping their workers and their families and kids safe. They are doing things like when it's appropriate, they will do a Zoom visit. And then when they do in-person visits, they make sure to observe, masking and distancing and all of that. I know some people have gotten creative with, front porch visits or visits outside at a park, things like that. They've been really creative about different ways to lay eyes on the kids, but still keep everyone safe.
But it's not just social workers who are feeling challenged by COVID. The entire system has had to adapt to pandemic-related changes this year.
The biggest challenge with COVID is just ensuring that all children and families have everything they need, that all children are able to participate in therapy and receive any services that they need, whether that's outpatient services, individual therapy, family therapy, any type of therapy, or services through school, just to ensure that overall functioning isn't impacted by all the changes with COVID.
One thing foster care agencies have done to adapt is to hold foster parent trainings online. Trainings have previously been 30 hours worth of in-person training. Now the training is available on Zoom from the comfort of your own home.
We have a lot of families that maybe couldn't accommodate in-person training because of their schedules, their work schedules, their personal lives, childcare. But moving it online has actually opened the training up to some families that were just kind of waiting for a schedule that worked for them.
Moving trainings online might have encouraged some to consider foster parenting, but Kinder stresses that there's always a need for foster parents.
I have worked in foster care for almost 20 years, and you could have said foster care crisis at any point because there are never enough foster families for kids in the system. It definitely ebbs and flows as more kids enter care or as we have more foster parents or fewer foster parents. But people call and I say there's always a need in your county, in the state. There is always a need. There's never a time there is not a need for foster parents. And one of the reasons is that when there aren't enough foster families, kids go into group homes or temporary shelters. So the more foster parents we have to keep kids in a home setting, the better.
And you don't have to be 100% ready to take on foster parenting to complete the trainings now if you have a little extra time.
One time we had a family call us 14 years later that they were ready to be foster parents. So we don't care if they're not ready to take that first step. We can talk to them, answer questions. We can call them back whenever they're ready. There's really no reason not to get some information if people have thought about it.
For WBOY.com, I'm Shayla Klein in Morgantown.